Um,
Maybe I will.
Check.
Okay, sounds good.
Um, Well, good morning. It's okay. Okay. It's good to see everybody. I know it's really cold this morning, so I really appreciate everybody coming over to campus and trudging through the snow for this graduation. This is the first time we've held it here at Metro State. We normally have a huge high school auditorium. This is a little more cozy, but I love it. It's really nice to see all the faces out there. I'm Dr. Lisa Ma. I'm the program director here at Minneapolis School of Anesthesia. I didn't do really any prepared remarks, but I just want to welcome all of the family and our graduates over here. Yes. It's fun to see the faces. I love the regalia. We never used to do this, but now that we all have it, we're wearing it, and I think it's fantastic. So for those of you the family members that don't know, of quite a few years ago, our Council on Accreditation mandated that all of CRNA education, nurse anesthesia education, will be at the doctoral level. That being said, right now we have 2 master's cohorts. So this is our second to last. And then we have 2 DNP cohorts going at the same time. So one of the reasons that we ended up at Metro State is because they have a family nurse practitioner program already in place at a DNP level. So we get to use their faculty, which is fantastic. So there are a few people that I do want to acknowledge this morning. Dr. Carrie Johnson, you'll stand up. So Carrie is our DNP coordinator and has been really great to work with in terms of kind of navigating through some of the processes here at Metro State, master's and doctoral level. So thank you, Carrie. Dr. Brian Goodroad. Also with Metro State, Brian is, I think, technically our liaison for the masters, was, right? But I work closely with both of them in terms of everything. They helped us get this auditorium and get everything set up for graduation this morning, so I really appreciate it. So 2020 is when this cohort started. I don't think I need to say much more about 2020. So this class started almost everything exclusively online. We had to very quickly go from in-person classroom to online classes, and it was challenging, but it worked. And actually some of the feedback we got from the students at the time was, we don't mind the Zoom. They don't have to commute to campus. And we always have that option to go to Zoom if the weather is bad. So I will say I'm impressed with this cohort. They came straight out of those COVID ICUs into this really, really tough, rigorous program. Now, you could make an argument DNP versus MSN, which is harder. I think they both have their challenges. The anesthesia content is pretty much the same for both cohorts. So this cohort, the anesthesia content gets shoved into 27 months. So it is intense, and they will tell you last year's summer semester was probably one of the worst. We recognize that, but they've all come through it, and here we sit. So congratulations, all of you, for making it through that horrible 2020 COVID right into the program, and now here we are. So that's really all I want to say at this point. I'm going to let our board president introduce the rest of my faculty. I do want to have Todd Walters stand up as well. He has taught in our MSN and our DNP curriculum, and I've known Todd since 1991, long time. He graduated a year ahead of me at MSA. So thank you for being here. Excellent. So our MC this morning is Libby Kriz, and so I'll let her come up and then introduce the rest of the speakers for this morning.
Hi, everyone. My name is Libby, and I am one of the class officers, and today I will be serving in the role of MC for our ceremony. Before we start the CRNA and the student speeches, I just wanted to express on behalf of our class our immense gratitude for all those who are attending today's ceremony. Although us students attended CRNA school over the past 27 months, we are very well aware that many of you in the audience likely feel that you also attended CRNA school in your own way. Whether it was setting up the coffee machine every night before clinical for us, taking on more of the household duties or the child rearing duties, or taking us or talking us down from yet another one of our clinical or test-induced anxiety cliffs. We see you and we thank you. We also acknowledge those who might not be able to attend today in person, but who are ever present with us in spirit. CRNA education is inarguably one of the most emotionally turbulent and treacherous mountains to ascend, and the journey is only made possible with those who climb alongside us. Our next speaker is going to be Leanne Ritz, who is our MSA board president.
Thank you, Libby. This is such a fun day for me. Not only am I the board president and get to represent, but I also get to kind of represent all the CRNAs that these graduates got to work with day in and day out. The hours that they put in the ORs is really great. And it really makes me proud to see them all here and ready to start this career. So let me thank you, first of all, and welcome you to the Minneapolis School of Anesthesia class of 2022 graduation ceremony. Welcome friends, families who are all here to support your graduates. Let me really need to recognize the faculty that put all the hours into organizing this program and teaching and executing everything that we asked them to do. So please stand and be recognized. We met Lisa Ma, program director, and also associate directors, Travis LaFoon, Andrew Johnson-Cowley, Beth Quass, and probably most importantly, the person that keeps them all organized, Carrie Ernest. All right, so in the vein of recognizing and welcoming you guys, please, I really want to make sure that all of your family understand the amount of work that goes into this and why you took that chosen path into nurse anesthesia. Your family's probably thinking, wow, that was a lot. What are you going to get on the other end of it? So let me tell you a little bit about nurse anesthesia. These guys already know they made this decision. But nurse anesthesia is a profession that you will undoubtedly have pride in. In the US, every year, CRNAs administer 50 million anesthetics. They're among the nation's top trusted professionals, according to Gallup, as evidenced by Gallup's honesty and ethics, and they have topped that list for 20 consecutive years. In 2021, nurse anesthesia ranked second by US News and World Reports as best healthcare jobs. CRNAs work in every setting where anesthesia is delivered, and they collaborate with a multitude of people: surgeons, dentists, podiatrists, ophthalmologists, physician anesthesiologists, and every member of the surgical team. CRNAs have a strong and proud presence in rural hospitals, making up about 80% of anesthesia providers. Many of these critical access hospitals rely on independently practicing CRNAs to deliver their expert care for patients. Graduates, this is a profession that you have chose to dedicate your time and talent. I have spent, hard to say, almost 2 decades as a CRNA, and I have seen this profession grow and the scope increase really exponentially. But it didn't happen passively. Many people that have gone before you have dedicated their lives and their professionalism to this trade. It hasn't always been easy, but CRNAs have continued to show themselves as highly skilled and capable of providing safe and effective anesthetic care. It's now time for you to decide what you will bring to the profession. What impact will you have? Will it be leadership, mentorship, education, or research? Will it be expert clinical practice and professionalism that you take to enhance the profession of nurse anesthesia? Maybe that question can't be answered today, but as you start your path, remember to be open to opportunities that will certainly be presented to you. When they come, be ready to contribute, to advance and protect this honorable profession. Where will you make your mark on your chosen profession? Thank you, graduates, and congratulations.
Thank you, Leanne. Our next speaker is Becca Sample. Becca is an MSA alumnus from the class of 2017, and she currently practices as a CRNA in several facilities here in Minneapolis. While at MSA, Becca served as president of her own class, and since graduating 5 years ago, she has served on the board of the Minnesota Association of Nurse Anesthetists continuously as director, treasurer, and currently as the president. She enjoys maintaining adaptability by working in high acuity environments, as well as doing anesthesia for medical mission trips in Guatemala. When not administering anesthesia, she enjoys music, traveling, and being outdoors. Please welcome Becca Sample.
Thank you, Libby. Thank you for that introduction. This is so much fun to be a part of. I get to see these students through clinical, and it's a really exciting day. And I also love seeing all the family. I'm so glad that Libby said something about that in the introduction, hearing the babies and just knowing like these are your people. It's been with you the whole way. It's a good time to celebrate that. Doctors Ma and Johnson Cowley, respected faculty, alumni, and proud family and friends, and of course the graduates of the class of 2022, thank you for inviting me today. I know that the clinical days, and maybe especially the didactic days, have been long and the weekends have dragged on. But finally, you are here, so I encourage you to look around and soak it in at your loving family and your peers, and know that this is your time to celebrate. Give yourself permission to do so. The prospect of the opportunity to speak with you today made me reflect on my time at MSA. And I know anesthesia training was hard for me, as it is, I think, for everyone. It's demanding of our time and energy. I hope and expect that you will all find it exceedingly rewarding as I have, but it still requires a lot of us. I found that my world became very small during school. I only had the time and energy to give to my most essential relationships. And the friendships I found in my fellow student registered nurse anesthetists were indispensable, and they remain so to this day. I met some of the smartest, most creative, hardworking people along my anesthesia journey. And I remember my first day of class at MSA, looking around the room and quickly realizing that I was sitting among a collection of the most talented, dynamic individuals I had ever been gathered with. There were architects, chemists, hobby farmers, home beer brewers, musicians, and athletes, all coming together from a variety of backgrounds with a lot that brought us together and a lot we had in common. Many of us are drawn to this profession because we like a challenge. We like to always be growing and learning. We like to solve problems and see results. And it turns out that common characteristics like this make for a pretty exceptional group of people. I think I can confidently say you all have a very rewarding and fulfilling career ahead of you. You will love using your knowledge and training to make your patients feel more comfortable, more reassured, and healthier. I can also say that you're surrounded by a community of SRNAs and CRNAs that will love to support you and watch you succeed. In my time serving with MANA, I've come to value the network of mentorship and community that it offers. And it's not realistic for every one person to have the answers. You are probably the most book smart now that you'll ever be. It's amazing how fast you forget some of those things when you start clinical practice. But of course, that book knowledge gets replaced with wisdom and experience. And there's no one person with all the answers, but rather a whole web of anesthesia providers who are waiting to help you find those answers. And this is my plug, of course, for remaining an AANA member and knowing that your community is always there to support you in whatever endeavor you seek. And I want to say a special thanks to Hallie for being a student rep to the Minnesota Association Board while she was a student. We really appreciate you. That being said, I recognize that my experience at MSA was probably pretty different than yours, considering the context of the pandemic and how you started remote. Your cohort has had to navigate a rapidly changing healthcare and educational environment And you also, as Dr. Moss said, you worked in those ICUs when things were especially hard. So you may not have been able to enjoy the social support of your peers like a lot of us did in the before times. You've had to show a lot of strength and courage to carry multiple stressors simultaneously. And those of us already in practice are thrilled to welcome you and learn from your resilience. As graduates of this program, you are destined to become leaders in our profession. You're already proficient in providing anesthesia. Your task now is to decide who you will be as a professional and a leader in your clinical environments. Other nurses, students, and operating room staff will look to you to set the tone of the room, and you will have the power to affect the attitudes of others by how you respond in crisis, and most importantly, by the care and vigilance that you show in caring for your patients. You will never regret being a leader with humility and asking more questions than making assumptions. Remember that you know a lot, but you don't know everything. You always have a reason for why you do what you do in the OR, and keep your patient first in mind. Know that this profession offers a lot of opportunities around the country, and it is a huge blessing to have confidence that you will be able to repay your loans and provide for yourself and your families. But there is no amount of money that can make up for a toxic work environment. I encourage you to think carefully about how you'd like to grow and who you want to be surrounded by, and let that guide you when you make decisions rather than seeking a paycheck or a sign-on bonus. So after today, after boards are taken and passed, you may find yourself wondering what to do with all of your time. Anesthesia training has taught you how to use every moment of the day and calendar the days and weeks to accomplish a seemingly impossible volume of tasks, reading, studying, test taking. And yes, when you start work, you will be shocked by how exhausted you are from an 8-hour day. Your brain will be working hard to log new information. You've been operating under long-term stress, and it doesn't go away immediately. But soon you will adjust, you'll be able to enjoy work, and you'll find yourself with energy to spare. And then what? That is the exciting part, because this experience didn't just teach you how to deliver anesthesia, it taught you how to maximize your potential in every day. You'll be able to use that knowledge however you choose, to give that time back to your family, to give talent back to your profession through MANA or other volunteer work, to build something, to learn a language, travel, pick up an instrument that's been gathering dust the last 2 years. And I suggest you use some of that newfound time and energy to fill up your cup, and be sure to take a nap if you need it as well. Final bit of advice: each and every time you go to meet a patient, take a deep breath before entering that pre-op day, and remember the significance of what we do. When I was a cardiac ICU nurse, I worked with patients who were waiting for heart transplants, and some of those patients were in the ICU for weeks or months. I got to know one of my patients pretty well, and after he sailed through his transplant surgery, we spent time together a few times a year. After I got accepted to MSA, I was really excited to tell him what was next in my journey. And he looked at me kind of saddened and grieved that I would no longer be a bedside nurse. I guess he thought I was good at it. I thought maybe there's not a place for interpersonal skills in the OR with an asleep patient. So I explained why I wanted to be a certified registered nurse anesthetist. Because in this role, we get to meet people in their most vulnerable moments. And from babies to elderly, we have the distinct privilege and responsibility of gaining our patients' trust quickly and using our skills and training to create a plan for them that will bring them through a very scary experience. We have the best job in the world, and even better, it's not a job, it's a profession. And I'm honored to be among the first to welcome you to the best profession. We have been waiting for you, and we are thrilled that you're here. Congratulations.
Thank you again to Becca. Our next speaker is Andrew Papazian. Andrew is an MSA alumnus from the class of 2019. Andrew is originally from California, and he graduated nursing school in Missouri. After graduating, he worked in the neurotrauma ICU for 3 years prior to attending MSA here in Minneapolis. During his time at MSA, Andrew also served, like Becca, as class president and worked with the Minnesota Association of Nurse Anesthetists as a student representative. He has been practicing as a CRNA for almost 3 years now at North Memorial Hospital in Robbinsdale, Minnesota, and soon will be embarking on a new adventure as a locum CRNA in Portland, Oregon. Please welcome Andrew Papazian.
Morning, everyone. For those who don't know me, my name is Andrew Papazian. I'm a 2019 graduate of MSA, and I work at the CRNA at North Memorial. I'm currently ranked 3rd in the top 10 of CRNAs in Minnesota by my own survey. When the class asked me to speak today, I was pretty honored, but I was kind of surprised. You know, why me? I'm hilarious. I'm really good looking, definitely humble. But those aren't good traits for a CRNA graduate or a speaker, right? As I pondered why they would ask me to speak, I think it hit me. I think I bonded with this class actually from the get-go. They knew how much I loved being a CRNA and how much I loved working with them the past 27 months. We spent many hours together in a wide variety of cases, from open hearts to vascular to total knees. Anytime a student would sign up with me, I knew it was going to be a good day. I made sure to, let them hone their own skills and give them advice, even if you guys didn't ask for it. We'd always discuss the important topics like why it's important to understand peak pressure, why to pre-treat bradycardia when you're doing a laparoscopic case, and other important topics like, do I look fat today? Does love really even exist? I know it might seem crazy because I know how much you guys all look up to me. But when I look down at you here, I can remember when I first started CRNA school. There are many times where I was unsure of myself, doubting my abilities, missing intubations, giving myself pep talks every morning while hitting the snooze button way too many times. I too was like Libby, a little flustered in the beginning while I was soaking all in. I remember being like Hallie when I took you to your first floor intubation, nervous and a little timid. I was like Sam Lee, or Sam, challenging myself with the difficult cases and then wondering where the bathroom was. Only for you guys to become amazing CRNAs. I'm sure you can all relate, but I remember the time when I first saw a patient vagal down as an SRNA. I was actually working with Dr. Andrew Johnson-Calley at the time at Southdale. I was on my first rotation. I walked into the patient's room to place an IV. Many new SRNAs know that placing IVs is difficult, especially when you haven't done one much as a nurse. It can be intimidating. After crushing the placement of the IV, it was like an 18 gauge in the hand, like no big deal. It's like whatever. Blood was everywhere, but that's not the point. I was about to leave, thinking that all the nurses and were going to applaud me and go, "You're the king, Andrew, you're the king. Good job on the IV." Well, the patient started wobbling, turned a little white. His eyes rolled in the back of his head. And right before he passed out, I'll never forget this, he said, "What did you give me?" And it was just saline. I yelled for Dr. Calley. He came in outside the door and he calmly assessed and took control of the situation. After what seemed like a lifetime, but in reality was maybe 10 seconds, the patient woke up, was fine. Once I changed my underwear, I knew right there that was how I wanted to approach being a CRNA. I wanted to be calm and cool and collected. It's now your guys' jobs to be the calm and cool and collected ones. The pants poopers are the 2023 class. I know COVID impacted your guys' education and ability to bond with each other, but going to CRNA school was one of the best and challenging decisions of my life. You'll have lifelong friends, and the 26 of you will always be the 22 class of MSA. Cherish it for what it was, a grueling, gritty experience that will change your life for the better. An anesthesiologist once told me as a student, and I never forgot this, he said, "The best anesthetist is proactive, not reactive." In other words, we're trained to see things that hasn't happened yet. It's our job to get in front of the problem before it even starts. I hope you take that advice as well. I cannot be more happy and proud for you, and I know that you'll make the CRNA profession proud. I know without hesitation, this will be an extremely strong class. Next is the passports. Post that cliche picture of you in the car with the passport things that we all love to see. And remember, be humble, keep learning, and congratulations to you all.
Thank you, Andrew. Our next student speaker is Laura Lofness. Laura received her master's in nursing from the University of Minnesota, and she worked in the cardiac ICU at the Mayo Clinic prior to starting at MSA. She loves being active and outside, traveling, and spending time with family. Laura would like to thank her family and her friends for all the support and the encouragement throughout the years in pursuit of this career. And after graduation, Laura looks forward to spending more time with loved ones and figuring out what exactly she likes to do with this newfound free time. Please welcome Laura Lofness.
Thank you, Libby. Great. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for being here today to celebrate the Minneapolis School of Anesthesia class of 2022. Despite the last few years of training, today, up here, I'll try not to put you all to sleep with this speech. So let's start off with some numbers. As a cohort, we placed 3,698 IVs. We inserted 2,439 breathing tubes and completed 23,948 anesthesia cases. Those are some staggering numbers, and we should all take pride in the work that we put in. I also wanted to, like the other speakers, briefly touch on some of the added challenges that our class faced. We started our training in the middle of a pandemic. Our traditionally in-person courses were transitioned to completely online. We had new professors and navigated having both a new MSA facility and a new academic setting here at Metropolitan State University. Facing these unknowns on top of the known challenges of anesthesia school speaks to the resilience that our cohort possesses. We spent a total of 47,288 hours administering anesthesia and 79,361 hours at the hospital. That's a total of over 9 years, not including time spent in class or studying, dedicated to honing in our craft in order to obtain the knowledge necessary to provide safe anesthesia care. And here we are today celebrating our incredible achievement. I hope we're all able to spend some much needed and overdue time with loved ones over the holidays and dedicate some time to pursuing our passions other than anesthesia as well. As we transition from students to practitioners, we also have an added responsibility to advocate for our profession, whether that be donating to the ANA PAC, using our voice to educate others on what CRNAs are and what we do, or however modality you do see fit. This will help ensure that CRNAs stay at the forefront of providing safe and effective anesthesia care. Lastly, on behalf of our class, I'd like to thank all of the friends, family, loved ones, faculty, and peers here today, watching us now, for your continued and constant support of us throughout the program. We have all learned so much and come so far, and we're ready for the next step. I have no doubt that we're all going to be stellar CRNAs. Big round of applause for the class of 2022.
Thank you, Laura. Now, our last student speaker is going to be Adam Johnson. Adam is from Eau Claire, Wisconsin, and he worked as an ICU charge nurse for 6 years before starting at MSA. Adam is married to his high school sweetheart, Samantha Johnson, and they have 2 children together, a spunky 5-year-old daughter and a smiley 3-month-old baby boy who prefers they wake up to see him every few hours each night. In January, Adam will be starting a CRNA position at the Mayo Clinic Hospital's Eau Claire location. He would like to personally thank his in-laws, Mike and Renee, for housing them the last couple of years to save money for school and for being very wonderful live-in grandparents. He would also like to thank his parents, Mike and Mary, for storing their stuff in their basement and for their love and their support throughout school. He'd also like to thank his stepbrother, Tyler, for housing him in the cities. And lastly, special thanks to his amazing wife, Samantha, for raising the kids and working while he was gone each week for class and clinical. Please welcome Adam Johnson.
Thanks, Libby. Woo, guys, we made it. Man, seems like just yesterday, we were all sitting down for our first Zoom class, busting out those fresh notebooks. And I mean, who am I kidding? Actually, that was like the longest 27 months of our lives. At least it was for mine. I don't know about you, but we survived it though. We survived sitting through those online Zoom classes, early COVID times, wondering how many people had just rolled out of bed and didn't even bother to put pants on. Watching other people's pets wander across the screen. So many cats. And why is it that anytime a cat would jump on a person's laptop, Mr. Whiskers knew exactly how to center his perineum right on that camera? We saw spouses walk around shirtless in the background, not realizing they're on screen. With classes being on Zoom, we immediately figured out those who had tech skills in the class and those who clearly did not. There'd be the technologically impaired who couldn't figure out how to turn their webcam on, or those who couldn't get their mic working or figure out how to mute themselves so we didn't hear them munching on chips. And then you'd have the tech wizards sitting in their high-backed fancy gaming chairs with crystal clear 1080p screen resolution with a background video that made them look like they're on the beach or in space. There's so many things we're going to miss about being in school. I think for one, everyone's going to miss feeling like little high schoolers again, bringing our backpacks up to the front of the class so we didn't cheat while we're taking our tests at the desk. And I mean, we did it though. We're never going to have to take another exam again or write a paper, unless of course you still got to take the boards exam. But I mean, that's pretty low stress considering that your whole ability to practice as a CRNA and $1,000 rides on it. No biggie. We did it. We survived the 27 months of rigorous didactic work and roughly 3,000 hours of clinical. In that time, we slammed in the hundreds of breathing tubes, stuck people with IVs left and right. We performed spinal injections, epidurals, inserted central lines, arterial lines. We told people, don't worry, you'll thank us later, as we took out our 6-inch plus needles and jabbed them in their neck, administering a local anesthetic. I mean, it all sounds gruesome when you say it like that, doesn't it? All these gruesome interventions allowed us to administer some absolutely incredible anesthetics to patients undergoing some of the biggest surgical procedures in their lives, saving them from incredible amounts of pain. It's cool stuff. We wheeled people into the operating room suffering life-threatening conditions, wheeled them out awake, smiling and happy, some even laughing and flying higher than a kite. We've walked into rooms of laboring moms experiencing the worst pain of their lives while strangling their husband saying, "You did this to me." I walked out of that room after placing the epidural, hearing her say, "May all praise your name, oh sweet anesthesia angel." We're certainly all in a much different position now than we were a few years ago as a bedside nurse. I think we can all agree we'll be greatly missing sitting through that report on a patient who had received 12 hours worth of lactulose doses and hadn't had any results yet, fully knowing the intestinal horrors you'll be witnessing on that shift. We're going to miss those 2 a.m. rectal tube insertions we had to do for that poor bedridden patient experiencing never-ending volcanic eruptions of diarrhea. We'll miss running around waitressing ice waters, dishing out graham crackers, answering those never-ending call lights from the poor, confused patients who are just wondering where they are and who sold their truck. Giving baths to patients with BMIs greater than their ideal body weight, having to call a doctor in the middle of the night to get that order for the narcotic. Never again. We're past that. We're taking on the new role at the head of the bed. We're now airway and anesthetic experts. Our new priorities are ABCs: airway, breathing, chair. One of the best parts about nurse anesthesia is the general high job satisfaction that we see amongst our peers who've been in the business for many years. I think part of that simply comes from being able to watch how some of these patients react to the anesthetic and wake up from it. You get to see the fair share of people who love to see how far they can count down from 100 as we're pushing the propofol. Propofol always wins though. I have to say, one of the funniest reactions I've ever seen was from an older teenager emerging from his slumber, asking the staff, "Do I have 3 eyes?" No, of course you have 2 eyes. "But I see 3 things. My eyes, they're thirsty." I said, "Nurse, get this man some water to quench his thirsty eyes." Now I'm a dad and a nurse anesthetist. Time to end this with some fine dad anesthetist jokes that will blow your mind. A nurse anesthetist asked his colleague, "May I borrow some chloroform?" "Sure, go knock yourself out." CRNA is administering a spinal anesthetic. "Okay, Steve, just relax. You're back. You've got this." "But sir, my name's not Steve." "I know, I was just talking to myself." Why did the hipster refuse the anesthetic? It wasn't local. All of these terrible jokes aside, we're about to start some pretty sweet careers. I know we couldn't have done this alone, and we each have some pretty amazing people in our lives to thank. First, I'd like to thank the many amazing professors who taught us some pretty rigorous courses, and all of the incredible CRNAs that we worked with throughout the community. We had the pleasure of working alongside and learning from during our 9 clinical rotations. I'd also like to give a special shout out to our school secretary, Carrie, who had the difficult job of all the background work that kept the program moving, tracking us each down, making sure we stayed up on our clinical requirements, got our evals completed, our care plans turned in on time. And as some of us learned the hard way, the Andrew Johnson Cowley law, our vacation days were inversely related to the number of days our care plans were late. And finally, I absolutely need to say thank you to all of our significant others, friends and family members who had to put up with us talking about vocal cords and intubations, complaining about how much we had to study for that next week's exam, and of course, how everyone knows the Mac blade is clearly far superior to the Miller blade. We sincerely could not have done this without your support, and we appreciate you all. So thank you for everyone for your time, and congratulations to my absolutely brilliant classmates. You were all incredible to work alongside. I wish you all long, fulfilling careers as anesthesia providers. And since everyone keeps saying you're never as smart as the day you pass boards, I guess it's all downhill from here. So, and never forget, laughter is not the best medicine. Propofol is.
Thank you, Adam. Just FYI, Team Miller here. All right. So not a Mac blade user. So I don't know about you Mac users, but we Miller users tend to just slide that tube in. We don't really slam tubes in. Just FYI. Huh? I just had to. So couple of things. We are live streaming this, and we will send that link out when this graduation ceremony is done for those that could not be here. Dr. Carrie Johnson asked me to acknowledge that, I look at you getting your MSN, fantastic. I'm going to venture half, maybe more, will go back for their DNP. So I'm seeing some nods. I like that. I'm seeing some nods no. I'm seeing some nods yes. Metro State will have a completion degree probably up and going in 2024. So just keep that in mind. We'd love to have you guys go back and get your DNP. It gives you the opportunity to teach, and among other things. So I am up here to present a few awards for our students, our outstanding students. I do want to acknowledge, as Becca said, Hallie Rule did sit on as the student representative for MANA, which was fantastic. We'd love to have our student reps involved at the state level. Jen Watkins applied and was selected to be the student representative for the AANA PAC, which I'm a member of again. So that was fantastic. And then Christina Taylor was our AANA Foundation rep as well. So we had a lot of good leadership skills and involvement at the state and national level. So I'm up here to present 3 awards, which is our tradition for MSA. The first award is the Award of Excellence for Academic Achievement. It's presented to the graduate who has demonstrated didactic excellence by attaining the highest overall percentage grade throughout the entire program. This year, the recipient of the Award of Excellence for Academic Achievement is Libby Kriz. The second award is the Award of Excellence in Clinical Practice. It's presented to the graduate who has received superior evaluations during each of their clinical rotations. This year, the recipient of the Award of Excellence in Clinical Practice is Adam Johnson. Congratulations. Oh. The final award is the Agatha Hodgins Award. It is in commemoration of Miss Agatha Hodgins, who founded the American Association of Nurse Anesthetists in 1931 and also served as the association's first president. Each year, the Agatha Hodgins Award is presented to the graduating senior who has a great potential to contribute to the advancement of the nurse anesthesia profession in a positive manner. It is expected that the Agatha Hodgins Award recipient will work in local, state, and/or national association activities, contribute to the education of students and/or CRNAs, provide service to humankind, demonstrate willingness to stand by one's convictions, exhibit depth of character and inner strength, demonstrate clinical and academic expertise. This year, the recipient of the Agatha Hodgins Award is Christina Taylor. Congratulations. Nice job. Okay, and from here, we will move on to the presentation of diplomas. So I'll let Dr. Johnson Cowley stand here with the microphone and we'll stay up on the stage here. Dr. Travis Lavoon is going to be hooding our graduates. You know, we picked him for obvious reasons because he's the tallest, so it's just much easier, right? Here you go.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Andrew Johnson Cowley, one of the associate directors of Minneapolis School of Anesthesia. It's my honor today to present to you the graduates of Minneapolis School of Anesthesia, class of 2022. When I call your name, please step forward and receive your diploma and your hood. Tyler Clack. James Cody. Brady Eilertson. Edgar Escobar. Tyler Gregg. Trent Hagstrom. Adam Johnson. Nathan King. Taylor King. Libby Kriz. Samuel Lee. Laura Lofness. Samira Mohammed. Unfortunately, Samira couldn't be with us today. James Phipps. Hallie Rule. Megan Skelton. Nikki Snordum. Joseph Stymack. Christina Taylor. Peter Tierney. Rachel Tokenen. John Baubel. Jennifer Watkins. Michaela Wilhite. Laura Wolf. Megan Wohler. Will our graduates all please stand? Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the graduating class of the Minneapolis School of Anesthesia 2022. Congratulations, graduates.
Right. So we have now reached the conclusion of today's graduation ceremony. Thank you all again for taking time out of your day to celebrate with us. We will conclude by watching this short slideshow made by some of our classmates. Special thanks to Jen, Christina, John, and Taylor for their assistance. And then when we're all done with this, light refreshments will be provided in the Science Education Center, which is directly outside attached through the Skyway. Oh, it'll actually just be right out there. Never mind. Thank you.
That's my favorite part. It really is. I love those slideshows. Join us out in the reception area. We've got some light refreshments for everybody, and congratulations again, class of 2022.